Hi guys, I'm Qwerty2jam,
And I'm Prototype.
and welcome to the Greenhorn guide for engineering in Guns of Icarus. Now,
Now, before we start the guide, I want to point out something very important that a lot of people overlook. Just after the pilot, and only due to the fact that the pilot can move the ship, engineering is possibly the most important class in the entire game. The difference between a good engineer and a bad engineer can make your game from 5-0 to losing 5-0 to winning 5-0. Being able to keep your ship alive and all the systems running is possibly the best you could do. Like, engineers make or break games.
and as a captain, there is nothing more infuriating than having an engineer that sits on a gun. If you're an engineer, don't touch guns unless you're told to.
Alright, so before you get in game, you'll be in the lobby like we are here. We're just in a sandbox one for the purpose of the guide. You want to go up to the top right, and there's three symbols. There's the bullet, the spanner, and the steering wheel. If you're going to be playing an engineer, you want to select the spanner, that is the engineer. And now we go into the engineer class by hitting roll. And if you have it selected, it'll take you straight to the engineering loadout. So basically, engineers are the repairers of a ship. They have access to 3 repair equipment, which just takes their repair potential and healing off the charts. So we've got 1 piloting, 1 weapon, and 3 repair. For piloting, just as a general rule, take spyglass. It's amazingly helpful for a captain to know, alright, at least one of my crew has a spyglass, so I can run 3 different things and not have to worry about a spyglass. And it's just generally helpful for your team all around. And then we go into the weapon equipment. Really, it's personal choice. Take whatever you want. If you're engineering well and fights are happening and stuff's blowing up, you won't really have a chance to get on a gun. So I would recommend burst rounds, as I feel they're very powerful, but I would also highly recommend incendiary rounds, charged rounds, and heatsink clip, because flames suck. Alright, now in the repair equipment, for rebuilding and repairing, we've got the pipe wrench, the rubber mallet, and the shifting spanner. Each of them, they're all balanced out to be roughly even. The best rebuild we have is the shifting spanner, but it's balanced by being the worst repairer, repairing only 40, compared to the rubber mallet, which repairs 225 but only rebuilds for 1. With the rebuilds, an engine with the shifting spanner takes about 3 or 4 hits, so that's 9 to 12 rebuild needed. So rubber mallets will take a very long time to repair, whereas shifting spanners will be very quickly. With the pipe wrench being the even balance between them both, with a decent heal and a decent repair. Rebuild, sorry. And then we also have fire extinguishers. We've got the fire extinguisher itself and the chemical spray. Fire extinguisher puts out all fires on a single component, but adds a 6-second cooldown to it. So you cannot repair or rebuild it for another 6 seconds. Although, if something needs to be rebuilt, it will not have flames on it. So, don't do that. And then we've got the chemical spray. It will remove 3 fire charges and reduce the possibility of getting another fire charge by 40%. Personally, that's my favorite because I really dislike the 6-second cooldown on the fire extinguisher. For recommended items, I would say shifting spanner, rubber mallet, and then either of the fire extinguishers is up to personal choice. Solely because if something's need to be rebuilt, you can get it up in a second with a shifting spanner, and then you can just repair it to full health with the rubber mallet in just as long. Alright, and then we've got the Dynabuff Industries kit. Basically, it is what it says. It's a buffing tool. It buffs any component on a ship, or with their own certain buffs. With the engines, it gives plus 25% power, just making you faster. Guns gives them more damage. Hull gives them plus 30% armor, which is actually amazing. And then with the balloon, it gives minus 300% vertical drag, which just lets the ship go up and down very fast.
Once we finish that, we click Customization Complete. Make sure your engineer role is selected. You don't want to go in as an all-gunner team or even worse, an all-pilot team. Make sure you've clicked Engineer, and your captain will click Ready, and you'll proceed into game. Now on every ship, you'll have your engines, your hull, your balloon, and your weapons. On each ship, the location is different. You need to learn the location for each ship. We are currently flying on a goldfish for this video. The balloon is this component here. It will connect directly to the balloon. You do not hit the balloon itself. You repair this component, as you can see by the health bar floating above it. The main engine is the one that allows forward momentum. It's the biggest of the three engines on the goldfish. It is in this position. The two minor engines, or turning engines, allow the ship to turn quite obviously, and will vary their position depending on the ship. The hull itself looks like this, with the armor and total hull health being displayed. The location differs for every ship once again. The weapons have their own health bars, and just like the gunner video, the locations vary depending on the ship.
Alright, now when it comes to repairing, there are different levels of damage that can be shown on a component. If something is at full health and does not need to be repaired at all, it will not show on your screen. As you can see with the rear engine, it's not showing up. There's no icon, but you can see those other two icons. So basically, these are the other two engines, the two turning engines. You got this one here, which has suffered a little bit of damage, but not too much, as you can see, which is also visibly identifiable by the props being a little bit busted looking. More than they're normal, at least. And then we've got a completely dead engine. This engine will not turn, it will not power anything, it will actually cause the ship to turn in an awkward way. This can be easily seen by the bright red. Red is bad, you never want to see red on anything. And as you can see, it's also sparking and smoking, and it's very ugly. No one likes that. And with the health bars, you can see them on your screen. Like, even when you're not looking at a component, it will show you with an arrow, it'll be on the corner, it'll be on the side, and it will move with the component depending on how you look. So if you spin around, it'll move different places. And your best bet, always look for the little health bars under the icons. You want to repair what's lowest, or what you know you can get to first. If something's red, that usually takes first priority. You always want to run over and just start rebuilding that as soon as you can. Now, when it comes to rebuilding an engine, you want to use the components, well, not components, sorry, the equipment you have with the highest rebuild. As you can see, the rubber mallet only has a rebuild of 1. It's really bad. You can see that little bar in the middle, the circle only moving a little bit. For this kind of situation, you want to use something like the spanner that has a rebuild of 3. So it's amazing at repairing. It only take a few hits, and there it goes. And now that it's rebuilt, you want to repair it. You have the spanner out, so your first instinct is to hit. But when you hit with the spanner, it doesn't heal for a lot. Like, it's only 40. So you'd want to use the rubber mallet to repair. It does a whopping 220 and just fully heals that instantly. And as you can see, it's fully repaired, fully rebuilt. So the icon doesn't appear on your screen anymore. Now, as you can see, on the top of the screen, I would imagine, there is the balloon icon. The balloon, very important. Very, very important. Keeps the Zeppelin in the sky. Stops you from dying. Once again, balloons will have very large health pools, so you want to use the mallet to repair, and the spanner to rebuild, as always. And now with the fire extinguishers, either the fire extinguisher or the chemical spray, both are very simple. You just walk up to the component that's on fire, and you just left click like you would with any other tool.
Go.
Yeah, and now with the buffing tool, it's very simple. When you start hitting a component, it'll start to buff on the left side. As you can see, each little bit that it jumps up, that's a hit. And once you've fully upgraded it, well, buffed it, sorry, it will fill up that second bar, and that bar will slowly decrease or quickly decrease depending on how long it has, like how long it lasts. That's a visual representation for you. Now, one thing you can do is you can set up the next one. You keep hitting it. Try and remember when the last charge was before you hit it, before it actually applied the buff. So you can see right here, if you hit it one more time, it will refresh the buff to full. Whereas now, you can let it go through that full duration, come back, just hit it once, and then it's instantly buffed again. It's very useful in fights, especially when you're taking a lot of hull damage.
If your captain tells you to do something, you damn well do it, especially as engineer. If your captain tells you, I'm about to ram, make sure you're on the hull, do not go and start fiddling with an engine or hop onto a gun, goddammit. In fact, if you're an engineer, unless your captain tells you, you should never be on a gun. If your captain tells you to be at the hull, be at the hull. If he tells you to be at the balloon, be at the balloon. Tells you to put out a fire, do so. Do not argue with your captain. Do not do the opposite of what your captain tells you. 90% of the time, the captain is intelligent and knows what he's doing. Do us a favour, and please just do what he tells you. This has been Qwerty2jam
And Prototype.
and thank you for watching our Greenhorn guide on engineering in Guns of Icarus.